taking the Slant 6 head apart.
It's all grimy.
Grimy.
Yeah, it needs... we got it off. We might as well clean it up. I didn't want to. I wanted to run it, but I looked at it. And the more I looked at it, it's not burned, but it's like these are... They're garbage.
Oh, it's like Bakelite.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they're not supposed to be.
No, I know. They're supposed to be...
They're supposed to be...
they're supposed to be like...
supposed to be like this, where you could squish them down, you know?
And what are those?
The valve hats, I don't know.
The
These
valve
ones are
seals,
soft
yeah.
too, you know?
Valve seals, yeah.
And then, this one's not too bad. This one's a good one. There's a couple of really... Let me find you an intake valve. Let me get to this next intake valve and show you. Well, it's inconsistent too, because that one's not too bad, but the last one was complete and utter trash. And
okay.
Then check out these ports. Let me get the light.
Flashlight. Here in the U.S. Every other English-speaking country, it's the torch. Oh, look in there. Look at that.
It's goopy. Check out that one too. They're just full of carbon, and it would take a bunch of mechanically. And then see this ridge right here? I can take that down with a grinder real easy. No risk to anything here, and that will help it flow a lot. Now, if I really want to get crazy, I could take down some of the. There's a lot of. But this stuff, whatever this shiny black stuff in there is, it needs scraped out. It's no good at all. I just can't run that. So we have buffed up Campos, Slant Future Turbo, Slant 6 cylinder head, and upon inspection, the valve seals or umbrella seals or whatever, they were all hard, and they weren't busted up, but they will be. Especially you start running it. And some of the valves were real sticky. They had some, like, I don't know, something was dripping maybe out of the carbon, some like varnish kind of, and a lot of carbon in the ports. And that stuff doesn't really always work itself out. And if it gets super heated, then you get pre-ignition, so it'll like light the charge before it's supposed to. Like, you want to get it cleaned up. So I started disassembling. Right now, I have it all disassembled. All the valves are marked. They're numbered, so they can go back together. So you want to number your valves before you take them out with something that you can still see when you put them back together. The guides are not perfect, but they're actually really good, so we don't have to do anything with guides. The seats are good, so we want to protect those while we're working. And then I am going to do some dressing. Not really porting, but porting. You know, I'm going to clean up some of these bowls and some of the transitions from the bowl to the where the valve seats, because the factory Chrysler castings are pretty rough. I mean, there's a lot of material in the way, and I'm not going to get crazy with it. One important thing to know is you could spend an hour, easily spend an hour per port. I don't want to do that, but you could easily spend an hour per cylinder, so 6 hours. You do not want to spend your first hour on one single piston cylinder port, because then you're committed. You want to spend a few minutes here, a few minutes here, a few minutes here. Just work your way down and progress, and then go back, just so that everything is kind of uniform, and whenever you really need to stop, you have an idea. Now, I've looked at quite a few like cutaway cross sections where people sawed cylinders in half. I've seen where people have worked these until they came through into the water jacket. So I have an idea from memory and from practice and experience of where you can and can't take material away. I'm not going to explain that in this video, maybe a future video, but I'm not going to work it that hard. We're just going to worry about the places. Come on in here close, and you could see where some of these on the intake, you have where it's where the valve seats, and then it continues to get smaller, and then it opens back up into the bowl. So we're just going to at least round that edge off of there, and there it's over here on the exhaust valve.
Yeah, it's dark there.
There's places that easily, now you don't want to reduce any of the valve seat, and you don't want to nick that up, because we're going to be able to just gently lap this back in without much work. So we don't want to make more work for ourselves. Just the stuff that's we can get at easy. And now the ports, some of them have casting marks in them and a little bit of irregularity. I think I saw an intake port here that had like a little ridge in it. I think maybe, I don't remember which one, but you know, you want to look every once in a while. You'll get some kind of weird irregularity in one of these ports, so you just want to inspect them if there's something really strange in there, and you want to look for cracks or pinholes or whatever like that. They'll show up pretty quick, but you want to get a nice bright light, and you want to just take some time and really look it over. And this is not going to go to the machine shop. So, oh, and that sucker right there.
The sucker? The vac.
A really important lesson I learned was your eyes are an incredibly valuable tool, and in this situation, they are very vulnerable. You never, like the urge is there to go and blow the dust away. Well, when you're using this, that's metal dust. And you do not want to do that. You always use the vacuum cleaner to suck your dust away. So make sure you have your vacuum ready. I've got a Dremel style tool, and I might pull out a die grinder, but I couldn't find the attachment for the die grinder. But we're going to give it a try. But anyways, like I said, we're just going to do a little work all the way down and then back and then down and back until we're so sick of it and done sweating with these goggles on. I don't have a flow bench. I know where people take off the material to get the most from talking to people who have done this a lot over the years. And so I'm going to work on those places, but only to a minor degree. This is not going to be super flow head, because the turbo, we want to kind of give you an idea what a turbo will do on a factory sort of standard Slant 6, but we also, it needs torn down, so I gotta make it nice. All right, we've been.
Oh, look at
Okay,
this.
I just worked on all the exhausts.
Oh yeah, that one. Okay.
All right. All right, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I think we've got a good 70%. You know, the last 30% would take way longer, right? But rough with the die grinder. Really where I focus on is the scoop out the wide side. Don't take anything off the narrow side, because there's water jacket in between these. So you have to go out and out. Okay, and then with a long die grinder, you can get up and get beside the valve guide right here, and you want to smooth and widen that out towards the valve. You can't really go out deep here because there's water between these too. So you just want to, and I know that I have improved that. I've done these all. I went, back and forth, slowly working each one progressively, because you get more comfortable with the tool and you get more comfortable with, how to go at it to really carve the way you want. So you don't want to spend too much time. If I could teach you the most important thing if you're going to be porting is don't stay in one place too long, because by the time you get down here, if you look back at here, it's completely different. So you really just want to work progressively and then back and maybe go back one more time. Protect your eyes. These little flakes of metal bouncing everywhere in my hair. I mean, you could tell I've got it everywhere. Make sure you cover stuff because these little flakes are all port matching, I have heard, and I don't know, some engines maybe it matters, but on a Slant 6, I do not believe that port matching is a highly important deal. And there's not a ton of wall thickness here. There's some. You could, put a radius on that, or, a chamfer a bit, so that when your manifolds go on there, that there's, I've seen people put, they put this whole gasket on and they etch it and they grind out of that. I don't believe that's the biggest effect on flow, and that's just my feelings. I don't have numbers, and if somebody wants to do some flow bench with this or some of my ideas, God, I would love to do that kind of thing, because this is all just intuition as to what's going to work. But I know that these guides, I didn't really cut the guides down, because you could grind these guides down and then you'll get lots of flow, but then you're worried about longevity of your valve guides. So really didn't take anything off of them. There's a bunch of meat here. I mean, there's so much more space in these ports than there was when I started. It was a stupid big thing. My neck is killing me. That was a heck of a... Listen to that die grinder for 2 hours and grinding away. The little bit spits out and goes flying across the room. You got to put it back in there tight. All these valves, they're going to need cleaned up a little bit. They don't really need a lot of back facing, I don't think. I don't know that it's worthwhile, especially since I guess I could get them with a flat file, but they're not too bad. I'm worried, I don't want to cut into the seat. There's not a lot of back face to take off of there, so I'm not too worried about that. I think I'm just going to clean them up, pop them back in, and run it like that. In the process of grinding, I've removed pretty much all the carbon out of there, and there was some flow restriction from that buildup. So we have a better than factory head ready to go on to the Valiant. We'll be back soon.